Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with actually a very special episode this time around. This one is what I like to call the political episode. And yes, you might be thinking, politics, Commander Cheapskate, you're really going to give your 2 bits on politics right now? And yes, I'm definitely going to be able to do so. It's my channel. I can pretty much make whatever content I want to based on whatever I want to make it on. And on this particular episode, I am going to be addressing some pretty serious political topics in this video. And because of that, I'm going to be quite frank about this topic and give my honest opinions about it. Now, because this video will be a bit more of a deeper dive, I will put timestamps in the description box down below so that we can click and navigate to the part of the video that interests you the most. So that being said, let's have a discussion about politics real quick. Alright, so right now we're in the midst of political season in the United States right now, and so around this time period we usually go in for voting for different candidates for different political positions all throughout the entirety of the country, and you can see it everywhere. People think it might be a taboo topic to talk about right now, but and the reason why that's the case because people finding it right now to be very extremely pervasive and really divisive as well, especially as of late with different people saying things back and forth and people expressing their views on different issues right now in the political season. And a lot of people like to shy away from it. However, I think it is a bit of an important topic to talk about, and the reason why that's the case because there's some pretty important key issues that we need to be discussed in order to get basically an idea of how politics are working right now. Alright, so there are some really key issues going on right now. There's a lot of key issues right now that are affecting a lot of people right now, and it's a huge problem in the gaming community right now as well, because a lot of people are kind of at a loss as to what to make of things that are currently happening, especially when it comes to politics. Now, my opinions on politics might trigger you, but you know what? That's why we're here to talk about the free discussion of ideas and to give our viewpoints on various topics, and politics, of course, should not be excluded from that. And the primary key issue I'm going to be discussing about, especially in this video, is on the candidates for leadership right now. Right now, there's only really 2 real candidates that are even worth talking about as of late. Now, people have some views on the candidates right now. They talk about who they support and why they don't support this person and back and forth. And in this video, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of both of these candidates as well. And I'm just going to tell you right now, my video right now is not seeking to kind of sway you in any one way or the other. I'm just here to present the information as it is becoming available to us. And I'm going to give you the viewpoints about these 2 candidates to figure out which one of them, of course, should be really the one to be the leader right now in our current political situation. And the political issue I am talking about, of course, are these 2 leaders right now as the ones trying to figure out who's going to run the planet of Necromunda. So that's right. So for those of you guys who haven't know this before about me, I made a political video years ago about politics. And what I was talking about is how you can recycle old political science in order to use that to create new terrain and to do conversion work on your miniatures. So if you're afraid I'm going to talk about current modern politics, you're out of your mind. I am not going to touch that topic with a 10-foot pole, but I will talk about fictional politics as it relates to the game of Necromunda. And really, in the game of Necromunda and in the Underhive, really, there's only really 2 political candidates right now about who should really be in charge of Hive Primus, as well as the entire planet, all of its resources, and every social, economic, political issue that is reigning right now in Necromunda. Those, of course, are the 2 political candidates of House Aranthus as well as House Helmawr. Now, these 2, like I said before, are the only 2 major candidates right now that are running for position of control over Necromunda, and both these groups have some really in-depth storied backgrounds about the way they came to power. Originally, according to the lore, that Necromunda was originally under the control of House Aranthus. That was, of course, until plague swept through Necromunda and kind of brought Aranthus low, and so because of the House of Helmawr rose up and basically dethroned House Aranthus, and House Helmawr, of course, took over leadership of the planet of Necromunda for the longest time. Now, of course, with the Aranthian secession taking place, that is no longer the case. Lord Granius Helmawr is currently missing right now, stuck in a cryostasis, being hijacked by Cal Jericho, the infamous bounty hunter, and House Aranthus is now ascended to control over Necromunda. And so because of that, people are kind of like at a debate right now, especially in the Necromunda gaming community, like who's going to be in control of Necromunda? Is it going to be Helmawr or Aranthus? And depending on who's in charge, how is it going to affect the overall narrative of the campaign setting, as well as talk about exactly, how things are going to, basically run within the Underhive, as well as the story overall. So in order to address this concept and to address this issue between these 2 guys, I actually came up with a pretty cool, kind of neat kind of narrative campaign in order to see if you wanted to actually play this campaign for you guys, to see if you want to use this in order to add to the lore of the struggle between Aranthus as well as Helmawr. So this campaign I created is a narrative campaign that I like to call Necromunda Game of Spires. So for those of you guys who've been watching my channel for a while, you guys have realized I made a narrative campaign a while ago. I actually made several narrative campaigns over the course of my channel. One of them was an unofficial Ash-based campaign before Games Workshop decided to support that setting and of course create that great supplement to Necromunda as well. I also made another one called Necromunda Monopoly Edition, where basically you played as various merchant guilds trying to fight for control of a new territory within the Underhive that just kind of broke out. So I made lists about that and actually gave some rules for two of the guilds that were never supported, which is the Air Guild as well as the Electro Guild. So this one, of course, is my take on the struggle between the Noble Houses of Necromunda. There are 6 great noble houses that are basically fighting against each other to support either House Helmawr or House Aranthus and its rule over Necromunda. And kind of taking my little bit of a nudge here at Game of Thrones, I decided to make my own version of Game of Thrones, but we call it Game of Spires, where the noble houses in Necromunda are now fighting one another as well. Now there are currently no rules right now for noble house gangs in Necromunda, not really, and they're not really officially supported all that much by Games Workshop, so this is something I just kind of cooked up myself in order to create a campaign setting and some new rules if you want to try it out for your individual gaming groups as well. Normally I would usually just try to play this myself, but unfortunately I'm not able to really make battle reports as of late. I'm currently going through my master's program for my career right now, so I just don't have a lot of time to actually make battle reports. So I make every other types of content while I still can, because I want to keep my channel alive, and I also want to talk about the discussion of wargaming, especially with Necromunda and Warhammer and things of that nature. So because I created this campaign setting in order to just try out what it would be like to play a noble gang from a noble house and how that would actually work within that campaign setting. And so because of that, I made all these unofficial rules. By no way, shape, or form are these rules official at all. It's just something I cooked up myself, and I thought it'd be kind of a fun way to experiment and to try it out. So let's talk about what the narrative campaign consists of. So for the Game of Spires, you have 2,000 credits to spend on your gang, as well as additional 400 credits in order to spend on vehicles / mounted fighters for your gang as well. And like I said, normally I would try to play this myself and play it with my gaming group, but currently that is not feasible right now with the way that things are going on in my real life right now. So because of that, my loss is potentially your gain. So if you're looking for a new way of actually playing Necromunda and you want to try some experimental stuff, I suggest my Game of Spires campaign setting with some of the rules I've actually created, unofficial rules mind you, but unofficial rules revolving around noble house gangs. So the noble house gangs in this setting are called entourages, because nobles don't slum it down with gangs. No. They have an entourage of people that they have around them to kind of carry out the mission of their noble houses. So this is kind of like the rules that kind of came up with this. They're called a noble house entourage, they're called, and this is set for a narrative Necromunda campaign in the Game of Spires campaign setting that I kind of created. Now the thing you want to do, of course, is you have to pick your primary as well as your secondary skills. So when you create a noble house gang, what you need to do is pick any 4 skills, apart from leadership, of course, and you rank them 1 through 4, and then that way you can figure out what are your primary skills as well as your secondary skills. We're very much using the primary and secondary skill options from the Venators, from the Book of Peril. We're pretty much modeling that, so that way you can kind of create a lot of dynamic gameplay for your gangs, and a lot of options and a lot of variety that you can choose from to kind of make your ideal noble house entourage. Obviously, skills 1 and 2 are going to be your primary skills for your gang, as well as skills 3 and 4 are going to be the secondary skills for your entourage as well. So, kind of pick primary and secondary skills that you think kind of matches the flavor of whatever noble house you decide to try to play. Now, luckily for us, the Games Workshop has created the Noble House Delegations from the Book of the Outcast. They kind of give you point values for both the noble as well as the ganger that is attached to them from those noble houses. So from the 6 core noble houses that are available out there in the various supplements of Necromunda, those are going to be used to create the core of your gang in terms of your leader, as well as one of your gangers as well. And you will use the stats, equipments, and everything else that they have provided in those delegation rules as well. And these guys, of course, will form the core of your entourage. Now the question becomes then, okay, well, how do we do about gangers and champions, and how do we get those, and vehicle operators and all that kind of stuff? Well, I've actually made little subtle rules for those different class of fighters in your gang. We're going to talk about those guys next. So for your champions in your gang, these guys are going to be called Noble Vassals, or what these guys are going to be called. These are going to be the champion leveled fighters that you're going to have in your entourages. These guys cost 85 credits, and we're going to use the characteristics from the Venator Hunt champion that's available in the Book of Peril. The reason why I did that is because they actually give you 4 different characteristic types that you can choose from in order to make your Noble Vassal, and they seem kind of balanced in my opinion, so you could use whatever one of those stats you want to create your Noble Vassal to kind of match whatever gaming style or flavor that you want for your Noble House House Entourage as well. Now when you hire these guys, of course, they may choose common equipment and rare equipment up to a rarity value of up to 10 from the trading post, and they have no weapon or equipment restrictions as well. The reason why I kind of went with that nationale is because these guys are nobles. They pretty much run the entirety of Necromunda, so they'll have the pick of the litter of whatever they basically want, so long as it's within the trading post. They may or may not, you know, delve into illegal equipment. I decided to kind of limit it to just normal common type stuff, just because some people might not have access to illegal equipment tables or things of that nature. So that's the reason why I kind of did that. So, and of course, if you want to be able to include illegal equipment into your gangs, that's perfectly fine because these rules are unofficial. As an added bonus for your nobles, which are the leaders of your gang, as well as for your noble vassals, you can actually spend 35 credits in this setting in order to upgrade them to a psyker if you want to. And obviously, if you decide to do that, use the disciplines from the Book of the Outcast. They are all great general psychic abilities. They have some really cool things you can do with that. You create a lot of diversity as well as variety in your gangs as well, and make it really cool to play in your campaign if you want to. Now, as for your fighters who are going to be the Ganger X special rule, these guys are going to be called Liveried Footman, or they're going to be called. They're going to cost you 50 credits as well. And once again, we're going to use the characteristics from the Venator Hunters from the Book of Peril. Once again, they give you 4 different sets of characteristics that you can choose from, so my suggestion is to pick whatever characteristics you want to use for your fighters to match the overall narrative and gameplay style of your gang as well. And of course, when you hire these guys, you may choose common equipment or in rare equipment with a rarity value up to 8, including anything from the trading post if you want to. These guys have no equipment or weapon restrictions as well. The reason why that's the case is because, once again, these guys are nobles. They serve the noble houses, so they'll be able to have their pick of whatever they want in order to achieve the objectives they want to on the battlefield as well. At the same time, you can also upgrade one of your Liveried Footmen to be a specialist. That way they can access the primary skills and secondary skills that you choose for your gang, and you can have those guys access those as they level up over the course of the campaign as well. So these are basically the core fighters that you'll have in terms of champions, as well as fighters of the Gang Fighter X special rule. And for your vehicle operators, these guys will be your vehicle crews. These guys will be called Noble Coachmen. These guys cost 40 credits apiece, and these guys will be using the characteristics from the Guild of Coinhauler from the Book of the Outlands, which you can use for these guys as well. Now, even though these guys are Noble Coachmen, they will not have access to Guild of Coin vehicles. So things like Cargo 8 Ridge Haulers, for example, as well as Chronos Pattern Iron Crawlers, they will not be available to your gangs in this campaign setting. And the reason why I decided to do that is because these vehicles belong to the Guild of Coin, so they're not nobles. The Guild of Coin are not nobles, and vice versa, so you will not be able to access those. You could argue, of course, that House ran low, which does have some tithes to the Guild of Coin, that they might be able to use those vehicles if you want to. I just decided not to include that in this campaign setting, so that way everyone just has to either use custom vehicles or other vehicle types besides those. But of course, if you want to change that, by all means, perfectly feel free to do so. Like I said before, these are unofficial rules anyway, so you can do whatever you want with them as far as I'm concerned. As for vehicles, we're calling these vehicles Noble Conveyances, is what we're calling them, and of course the price varies. Whether you decide to use like standard template vehicles like Ridge Runners, as well as the Goliath Rock Truck, if you want to use that as well, or if you want to create custom vehicles. I highly suggest using custom vehicles because, you know, you are playing a Noble House gang, so their vehicles are going to be custom. And we have this little caveat here. You're going to remove the jury rig special rule from any custom vehicles you decide to use for your Noble Conveyance, and the reason why is because these guys are nobles, so of course their vehicles are going to be custom. So because of that, we're not going to take away that jury rig special rule just in case it's going to cause problems as well. And of course, there are no weapon, upgrade, equipment, or wear gear restrictions for vehicles as well. And that's again the rationale that we're going here, is that they are nobles after all, so they can choose whatever they want to put on their vehicles because as long as they got the money to do so. So there you guys have it. This is like a fun, unofficial narrative campaign that I created to add some additional diversity to your campaigns in Necromunda. So if you want to try out playing this campaign setting, please let me know in the comments down below and what kind of things you're looking for when you actually create this, because I was kind of toying around with creating this campaign, but like I said before, I just don't have the time to actually play this campaign for myself and my gaming group, just because I'm doing my master's program, so that's not really feasible right now. But at the same time, though, I thought it'd be kind of fun for you guys to give you an option to try this out if you want to. And if you decide to do so, please let me know and send me videos or photos or whatever you want to do in order to send me this information that you're using this, because I'd like to see exactly how you guys go about using this as well. I know some people, like throughout the gaming community, actually use some of my unofficial Ash Waste rules before the actual official rules came out, for example. I also have some people who actually use some of my unofficial guild rules that I wrote for the Air Guild and the Electro Guild in their campaigns, so please let me know if you decide to use this. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. Now, I know I was kind of trolling you guys talking about the political aspect of this video, but if you guys ever watch my very very first political episode where I talked about recycling political signs to make crafting materials out of, you know, just kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of guy when it comes to this kind of stuff as well. When it comes to politics, I will not really going to take a stand on anything or tell you what my opinions on politics are in the first place, just because this is not the platform to do that. I'm just here to play games and have fun and to, you know, make fun of stuff whenever I get a chance to do so. Now, of course, I will be making videos on some potential lists that you could use from the 6 noble houses. Those will be coming out later on throughout the course of my channel. So if you want to see the information regarding the Game of Spires campaign setting, subscribe and, you know, you'll get notifications when those videos come up as well. So that's good for those, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blog.com for all the greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.